Sherlock Holmes is perhaps the greatest and most well-known detective in the history of English literature. This monumental character was invented by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and his stories gained immense popularity with the people of England during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Holmes was described as incredibly brilliant and observant, able to deduce a man's history by the clothes on his back. Because of his incredible skills of deduction, he was often sought out by people of all sorts to help solve their unsolvable mysteries, yet always he separated himself from the vanity of society.
There have been many interpretations of Sir Conan Doyle's story, and one in particular is BBC's Sherlock. Doyle's infamous characters have been recreated in the 21st century, and through the magic of film technology, the audience is given a window into the functioning of the detective genius's mind. In this interpretation, Holmes is often called upon by the Scotland Yard, always accompanied by his trusted and most loyal companion, Dr. John Watson.
Another modern retelling of The Great Detective is Elementary, taking place in New York City. However, in this version, Sherlock is recovering from a drug addiction brought on by some emotional trauma, the cause unknown to the viewer. Through the course of the show, we learn more about the mysterious past of Sherlock Holmes, and what it is that he tries so dearly to hide, and what pushed him into the depths he fell to, or rather, who.
To Sherlock Holmes, she is always the woman. I have seldom heard him mention her under any other name. In his eyes, she eclipses and predominates the whole of her sex. It was not that he felt any emotion akin to love for Irene Adler. All emotions, and that one particularly, were abhorrent to his cold, precise, but admirably balanced mind. He was, I take it, the most perfect reasoning and observing machine that the world has seen, but as a lover, he would have placed himself in a false position. He never spoke of the softer passions, save with a jibe and a sneer. They were admirable things for the observer, excellent for drawing the veil from men's motives and actions, but for the trained reasoner to admit such intrusions into his own delicate and finely adjusted temperament was to introduce a distracting factor which might throw a doubt upon all his mental results. Grit in a sensitive instrument, or a crack in one of his own high-power lenses would not be more disturbing than a strong emotion in a nature such as his. And yet there was but one woman to him, and that woman was the late Irene Adler, of dubious and questionable memory. Originally, Irene Adler was a talented opera singer born in New Jersey. When Sherlock first hears of her, it's for a case concerning the next king of Bohemia. He must find and retrieve a particular photograph in which both Miss Adler and the king appear, in order to prevent a grand political scandal. Though she was only a passing character, her impressionable intelligence was enough to alter Holmes's views on the capabilities of women.
In the 21st century perspective of BBC's Sherlock, Irene Adler is portrayed as a beautiful, powerful, and highly influential character.
Irene Adler, professionally known as the Woman.
Professionally?
There are many names for what she does. She prefers dominatrix.
Similar to the original, Sherlock meets Adler while searching for photographs concerning a powerful political figure.
Photographs of whom?
A person of significance to my employer. We prefer not to say any more at this time.
You can't tell us anything.
I can tell you it's a young person. A young female person.
How many photographs?
A considerable number, apparently.
Do Miss Adler and this young female person appear in these photographs together?
Yes, they do.
And I assume in a number of compromising scenarios.
An imaginative range, we are assured.
John, you might want to put that cut back in its saucer now.
Adler is shown to be extremely intelligent to the point of being able to confound the genius that is Sherlock, both in her identity and in her actions, something that he has never experienced before.
Until the near end of Elementary, Irene Adler was presumed dead by everyone, including Sherlock Holmes. Before we are introduced to Sherlock in the Elementary timeline, he and Irene had a relationship unique from any other adaptation. They were romantically involved for over 7 months.
My entire life I had made one meaningful connection. That was with Irene Adler.
At this point, he had been pursuing a genius criminal mastermind known only as M. In retaliation for Sherlock's pursuit, M murdered Irene. This in turn sent Sherlock into a spiraling downfall of drugs and addiction.
Sherlock. I was broken. I thought the drugs were helping, and they were not. When I couldn't find the man who I thought had killed you, I hit a bottom. Scotland Yard asked me to step aside. I ended up coming here to New York to hide. When my father realized the depths to which I had sunk, he forced me into rehab.
However, Irene's return once again put Sherlock through a great deal of emotional trauma.
Irene?
No matter how she's portrayed, Irene Adler is always described as beautiful, talented, and extremely clever. She is one of the few people who are able to sway the great Sherlock Holmes, whether it was her becoming the catalyst to his downfall, or allowing him to see others as more than ignorant simpletons.
Irene Adler was the only woman who has proven to be equal or even better than Sherlock Holmes, and throughout the many years and variations she remains his one unsolvable mystery.
The woman